Symbology of the Bible, Volume 2. Goliath 2.2. The account of David's encounter with Goliath is a type of Joshua defeating the dragon, and a message that we too can defeat the Jeber. There is a quite thorough description of Goliath's armor. 1 Samuel 17 verse 4. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. 5. And he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. 6. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. 7. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him.
1 Jewish mina of 50 shekels was equal to 20.5 Roman pounds, or 818.62 grams. Hence 1 shekel was equivalent to 16.37 grams, or 5.8 ounces, per the Jewish Encyclopedia. However, another source, the Biblical Training Org, gives the ordinary shekel as 4.1 ounce.
Using a traditional Hebrew average measure of weight, being about 0.5 ounces, the male was around 156 pounds, or 70 kilograms. The spearhead would be around 19 pounds, and it was made of iron, while the male was brass. With the other pieces, it is reasonable to say that he was wearing and carrying up to 200 pounds, or maybe more, and in battle would be fighting with this amount of weight. It seems rather improbable, unless he was a giant.
According to the Artisan's Hub, a full suit of medieval armor, including a helmet, breastplate, gauntlets, and greaves, typically weighs between 20 to 30 kilograms, or 45 to 65 pounds. And, according to Encyclopedia Britannica, the cubit, generally taken as equal to 18 inches, 457 millimeters, was based on the length of the arm from the elbow to the tip of the middle finger, and was considered the equivalent of 6 palms or 2 spans. In some ancient cultures, it was as long as 21 inches, 531 millimeters.
Regarding the giant's height, an average cubit is approximately 20 inches, and a span can be 10 inches or half a cubit. So his height would have been rounded to 11 feet. It is reasonable to say that these Jeber were the foundation of the Greek Titan mythologies, since the Greeks are descendants of people that migrated west. There is an app to estimate ideal body weight, and the results for an 11-foot male are to the left. Depending on the method used, they range from about 350 pounds to 750 pounds. Hand-to-hand combat requires ability to move quickly, and historical accounts of battles between combatants describe a large area of ground being disturbed. Being a Jeber, a descendant of the Nephilim, he would have the strength required, strength that to humans would appear to be superhuman, but normal for a hybrid progeny. So, is there a purpose for a detailed description of Goliath's gear? Is it to impress the reader? To relay what a formidable foe he was? Perhaps there is some deeper meaning, in addition to the superficial account.
Height, H 1363. Elevation, grandeur, pride, haughty. Root, exalt, be proud. 6. H 8337. 6, sixth, 16, 16th. Cubits, H 520. Mother unit of measure 100, door base. Root, mother. Span, H 2239. Spread of the fingers. Root, winnow, scatter, cast away. Helmet, H 3553. Be high, rounded, helmet. Brass, H 5178. Copper, fetter, coin, chain, filthiness. Root, red. Head, H7218. To shake, captain, chief, ruler, some. Armed, H3847. Wrap around, put on, clothe, apparel, wear, come upon. Coat, H8302. Twisted corselet, breastplate, harness. Root, to free, direct. Mail, H7193. Fish scale, hence a coat of mail. Root, shale, strip, off as bark. Weight, H4948. Weight, weighing out. Root, suspend, in balancing scales, trade by. Coat, H8302. Twisted corselet, breastplate, harness. Root, to free, direct. 5. H2568. 5, fifth, 15, fifth part. Thousand, H505. 1,000, same as, family, yoked oxen. Shekels, H8255. A commercial weight, suspend in scales, spend, receive, trade. Brass, H5178. Copper, fetter, coin, chain, filthiness. Root, red.
There are a number of words of interest in the passage above. The root of brass is red, but it is specific, as the color of a serpent's throat. Next, the word helmet, H3553.
Kova. Koba, a helmet, as arched. Compare H6959.
It appears to be a form of H3552.
Kuv. Cub, a country near Egypt. Etymology, a foreign derivation. KJV, chub.
The proper Hebrew for helmet is H6959.
Kova. Koba, a helmet. Etymology, a form collateral to H3553. KJV, helmet.
And then there is the word oxen, H505.
Elif. Aleph. Hence, the ox's head, being the first letter of the alphabet, and this eventually used as a numeral. 1,000. Etymology, properly the same as H504. And H504. Elif. Aleph, a family. Also from the sense of yoking or taming, an ox or cow. Etymology, from H502. KJV, family, kine, oxen.
A transliteration, haughty, 600, winnow, high places, filthiness, chief ones, wear, harness, scale, weigh, to free, 5, family/yoked oxen, pay and trade, coin, fetters. An interpretation, 600 haughty, prideful ones of the high places, full of filthiness, the chief ones, will be winnowed. Those who are harnessed, I will weigh in a scale, and pay coin and trade for their fetters, to free 5 yoked oxen, or a fifth of the families. In this translation, the number 600 appears, the number associated, with the number of verses, as discussed previously. Genesis 7 verse 6, Exodus 14 verse 7, Judges 3 verse 31, and Judges 18 verse 11. 3 of those refer directly to the enemy and idolaters, and the other indirectly to the Nephilim and Geber, destroyed by the flood. The scriptural connections to the interpretation. Psalm 10 verse 2, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor, let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. 3. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord abhorreth. 4. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. Isaiah 16 verse 6, we have heard of the pride of Moab. He is very proud, even of his haughtiness and his pride and his wrath, but his lies shall not be so. 7. Therefore shall Moab howl for Moab, every one shall howl. For the foundations of Kirhareseth shall ye mourn, surely they are stricken. Psalm 78 verse 58. For they provoked him to anger with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their graven images. 59. When God heard this, he was wroth, and greatly abhorred Israel. 2 Chronicles 29 verse 4. And he, Hezekiah, brought in the priests and the Levites, and gathered them together into the east street. 5. And said unto them, Hear me, ye Levites, sanctify now yourselves, and sanctify the house of the Lord, God of your fathers, and carry forth the filthiness out of the holy place. Isaiah 14 verse 10. All they shall speak, and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? 11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. And the winnowing more high places, and the harness. Isaiah 30 verse 24. The oxen likewise, and the young asses, that ear the ground, shall eat clean provender, which hath been winnowed, with the shovel and with the fan. 25. And there shall be upon every high mountain, and upon every high hill rivers and streams of waters, in the day of the great slaughter, when the towers fall. Exodus 13 verse 17. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, Lest peradventure the people repent, when they see war, and they return to Egypt. 18. But God led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up harnessed out of the land of Egypt. Philippians 4:3. And I entreat thee also, true yokefellow, help those women, which labored with me in the gospel, with Clement also, and with other my fellow laborers, whose names are in the book of life. Nahum 1 verse 11. There is one come out of thee, that imagineth evil against the Lord, a wicked counselor. 12. Thus saith the Lord, though they be quiet, and likewise many, yet thus shall they be cut down, when he shall pass through. Though I have afflicted thee, I will afflict thee no more. 13. For now will I break his yoke from off thee, and will burst thy bonds in sunder. Revelation 6 verse 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Galatians 4 verse 4. But when the fullness of the time was come, God sent forth his Son, made of a woman, made under the law. 5. To redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons. Jeremiah 30 verse 8. For it shall come to pass, in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. 9. But they shall serve the Lord their God, and my beloved their King, whom I will raise up unto them. Remember, Jeremiah wrote during the exile of the house of Judah, centuries after King David. The verses above are prophetic of the second advent. And the 5 yoked oxen. Luke 14 verses 16 to 24. Then said he unto him, A certain man made a great supper, and bade many. 17. and sent his servant at supper time, to say to them that were bidden, Come, for all things are now ready. 18. And they all, with one consent, began to make excuse. The first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee have me excused. 19. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray thee have me excused. 20. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. 21. So that servant came, and shewed his lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, Go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in hither the poor, and the maimed, and the halt, and the blind. 22. And the servant said, Lord, it is done, as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. 23. And the Lord said unto the servant, Go out into the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. 24. For I say unto you, that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. Note that there were 4 invitations and 1 compulsion. There is no information on those whom the master sent the servant to compel. We do know that those needing healing did come in, but the first 3 invitees declined the invitation. 1/5 of the people will eat of the Lord's Supper, 1/5 of those invited and compelled. 1/5 will attend, being compelled to do so, but there may be some who will not partake of the supper. An interesting observation is that 2 of the invited asked to be excused, while the third flat out refused, having already taken a wife. Also note the first 3 invitees' excuses: 1, a field; 2, 5 yoked oxen; and 3, a wedding. Consider the order. 1. The field is the world. 2. Plow the field to make the soil fertile and plant seeds. 3. A wedding. Based on the studies to this point, the parallel should be obvious. It can even be said that, on the deeper level of symbology, the 5 yoked oxen represent families that are prevented by their master, but those yokes will be broken in order that they too can eat at the banquet and partake of the banqueting wine. And to close, there are 3 suits of armor, described in the word: Goliath's, Saul's, and the gospel armor.